Mining a tree is the first thing you do in every world, but what would happen if you stopped there? Only using the resources from the single tree, could you still beat the game? I spawned into the new Minecraft world, and after mining the tree, I collected all the items I had to beat the Ender Dragon. I wondered if this was even possible, so after a couple minutes of waiting, I decided to set sail, beginning the search for a village. As it turned to night, I saw it. Running until I was no longer able to, I planted the saplings outside the villager's house, before setting my respawn point, allowing me to reset my hunger bar, and once the saplings had grown, I had to leave the village, as there weren't any villagers that were useful to me. But as there wasn't anything else I could do, I continued to search for a new village, as all I had by this point was a single boat and the items dropped from the trees. So I made a list of 4 things that I needed to get to the end battle. But first I had to find a way to get onto step 1. So I explored for thousands of blocks, sailing across oceans, running through forests and climbing the tallest peaks of the world, until I saw an acacia village, and a couple hundred blocks away there was another. Planting the saplings in the village and waiting 15 minutes, I had to leave again, with just 37 logs, 25 saplings and a single apple for all my food. Within a few minutes I found another village, but there were still no working villagers, so the search for a suitable village continued, still questioning if this challenge was even possible. By the time the sun set and rose again, I had found another 2 villagers, bringing the total up to 6. Yet, the hunt for a villager that worked still continued, and after villages 7 and 8 brought nothing new, I began to lose hope. But then, on village 9, the search was finally over. I had found the villager I needed, the Fletcher. Allowing me to trade 32 sticks for an emerald, I immediately began trading, setting up a simple tree farm to manage my demand for emeralds. Within minutes, my profits were rolling in. I created a farmer villager to reach the first step of my plan to reach the end, to get a reliable food source. Bread. Apples from trees were good for the start of the game, but to reach step 2 of the plan, it would require a lot more effort, so the food couldn't be a problem for me. I continued to farm trees as part of step 2, trading sticks into emeralds, until the price for an emerald skyrocketed to almost 2 times the typical price. So I just planted and mined more trees before the prices finally reduced and trading resumed. Reaching close to 2 stacks of emeralds, I decided to start trading with the armourer for the gear I'd be taking into battle. This was step 2. I received piles of iron helmets and chainmail until the armourer finally reached the expert trading tier, collecting my diamond boots and leggings. Not nearly enough to complete stage 2. However, I had more pressing problems. I had lost the Fletcher villager. I started frantically searching the surrounding area. Despite it being working time for the villagers, the Fletcher was nowhere to be found. But after a minute of searching, I finally found it. Yet the prices were still too high, so despite the leveling up of the villagers, I was still unable to afford the full set of diamond armor I wanted. So it was time for even more tree farming as I waited for the prices to fall once again. And when I finished selling the sticks for emeralds, I was finally able to afford my armor I'd used for the Ender Dragon fight, the second of the 4 items I needed before I could enter the end. But this was only the beginning, as attempting step 4 could erase all my progress within seconds. But for the meantime, it was time for step 3. After waiting for the Fletcher once again, I just mined more trees, crafted more sticks, and waited until I could get emeralds. I decided to go back to the village a few hundred blocks away, using the toolsmith to get weapons so I could beat the game. But I'd first need to level up the villager, and that could be a problem, as I didn't have enough emeralds to do it. But even after waiting for ages, saving villagers on multiple occasions, I was still unable to trade. So I went AFK for a bit, and by the time I got back, I was able to trade with the toolsmith once again. However, after my return back to the tree farm, I decided on a new plan, to try and find another Fletcher. So I turned my render distance up and started looking for another village. Within seconds I found it, but after sprinting towards it, there was nothing useful the village had to offer. So I climbed up the mountain looking for another village. And after taking out my frustration on a villager, I was finally able to get back to my original plan of getting more emeralds. But after leveling the toolsmith up to master, it didn't offer the axe I was looking for. So... oh look, a new villager. And I began trading. But after my sinful actions, I got punished with a double creeper attack the next day. But that didn't stop me from leveling up the toolsmith once again. The same day I had the chance to compromise my morals. Does this count as the tree giving me iron? But I ended up saving the golem. I got enough emeralds to complete stage 3 of my plan. So it was time for step 4, the hardest stage, as it could delete all my progress, and it starts with going back in time. So after creating it back up, I went to finalise my plan. I trade for more emeralds, get a cleric to sell me Eyes of Ender in 1.8, then convert my world back to 1.20, find the stronghold and beat the game. But I discovered a problem. Getting the cleric to a level that sells me Eyes of Ender was impossible. I'd need either gold or rotten flesh, but I couldn't get either. I tried everything. Could I get rotten flesh? Could I get golden armor, smelt it into nuggets and then craft it into ingots? Could I level up a cleric and then downgrade the world to 1.8 with the cleric still leveled up? The answer to all these questions was no. I continued my research for hours, going through past updates and unstable snapshots, but nothing worked. So I needed a new plan, and it would involve going into the underworld. After this discovery, I did the same thing as I'd done for this entire speedrun, until I was able to afford enough chainmail to smelt into iron nuggets, allowing me to craft 4 iron ingots. With this, I crafted a shield and a bucket, so I could enter the next part of my plan, getting to the nether. First, I needed to buy some blocks which wouldn't immediately burn. Then, after following a tutorial, I think I messed up. It eventually worked, and the seeds would have been perfect for any speedrun, except for the fact that we were thousands of blocks away from spawn, but that doesn't matter now. So I raced towards the nether fortress, trying to avoid magma cubes and wither skeletons on the way, building safety walls in the hallways to block them. But I couldn't find any spawners, only a single stray blaze. However, after climbing to the top of the fortress, I spotted the flames of the spawner and took out the blaze one by one, getting extremely lucky odds for the blaze rods. I reached 24 blaze powder before I decided to go back to the village. Now I had just one more step to reach the end. So I increased the scale of the farm even further, trading for more tools. But my main goal was to level up the cleric, and after waiting for the sticks to sell, I was finally able to get ender pearls. And once I was able to reach 10 Eyes of Ender, I decided to start looking for the stronghold, instead of just waiting for the Fletcher's trades to come back. So I set off, throwing my first eye, going through the plains biomes and sailing through rivers, and after losing 1 Eye of Ender, I was directly above the stronghold. But after some difficulty going beneath the underwater cave, I had made it to the stronghold. The portal room was right in front of me, so I ran towards it, destroying the spawner whilst fighting off some silverfish, before placing 9 Eyes of Ender into the portal frame, leaving the stronghold shortly after that, so that I could place a marker directly above the tunnels leading to the end portal. However, on my way back to the village, I got into a fight, taking on a creeper and a spider at the same time. Defeating them both, I returned to the village victorious. I traded for my last emeralds, and then I attempted to level up the toolsmith, but it didn't give me any more useful items, so I began my mission to kill the dragon. As I had finally gotten enough Eyes of Ender to complete stage 4 of the plan, I ran in the direction of the stronghold, but I couldn't find any marker. Am I lost? Oh, there it is. I decided not to waste any time, jumping straight into the water, killing a skeleton that followed me. But I was finally ready, after travelling thousands of blocks, trading hundreds of times, and destroying a forest worth of trees. I jumped into the portal. Wait, where's my bridge gone? My first thing I needed was more ender pearls, as part of my plan to destroy all the ender crystals. But it didn't exactly go how I expected, and my first throw almost went terribly, and my second throw went even worse. I quickly returned to the end collecting my items, as well as mining endstone for my next plan, until I got hit off the pillar by the ender dragon. So I decided to use my water bucket, blowing up my first end crystal, and immediately got killed by the ender dragon for the second time. But I returned again, destroying more end crystals, even using my original ender pearl plan for 2 of the crystals. But within a couple of minutes, I managed to destroy the rest of the crystals, and could now focus on fighting the dragon, where I waited for the dragon to perch, and within a couple of cycles, I had beaten Minecraft with 1 tree. But I had one final thing to do.